Okay, we are in First Chronicles chapter 18. Last time, actually, to be honest, I don't really remember what we were talking about last time. David wanted to build the temple, but he had a lot of sins, pretty serious ones. So I think God, maybe that's a good example. Maybe that's a good way of saying how maybe he can't use me for some situation because of my sin. Maybe there's something that removes me from consideration in certain areas, maybe. I'm just throwing that out there. David wasn't allowed to build the temple, even though he wanted to. You know, just like some people, maybe they want to be pastors. They have that desire to do that, but God doesn't call them. How many pastors today were really called to do what they're doing? Maybe that's why we have so many problems, right? Were they really called to do that, or did they just want to? It was that's interesting. But anyway, David wanted to build the temple, but God said, no, you can't do it. Your hands are too bloody. I'm going to have your son build me the temple. So David collected materials to build the temple, but he didn't actually build it. It's going to be Solomon who builds it, as we know. And of course, we're coming to Solomon's famous speech there, I believe, towards the beginning of Second Chronicles. Or maybe it's at the end here of First Chronicles, I'm not sure. I think it's in Second Chronicles. Got quite a bit to go in First Chronicles. But anyway, that's where we are. So we're in chapter 18, and we're going to begin in prayer from Matthew chapter 6, verse 9, before we begin chapter 18 of First Chronicles. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Amen. So, chapter 18 of First Chronicles, the full establishment of David's kingdom. Then if you want to look at the accompanying verse from a different perspective, you go to 2 Samuel chapter 8, 1 through 18 there. There's a reference there. All right, verse 1 of chapter 18 of First Chronicles. Now after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them, and took Gath and her towns out of the hand of the Philistines. Why did he take 5? Did he take 5 or 6 stones? J. Vernon McGee, when you listen to his commentary, he says that that's a specific action of why he took that many stones. You know, right before he smites Goliath right in the forehead. One bullet sling shot right in the brain. One shot done. Why did he take, was he going to miss if he took that many stones? No. There's a specific intention associated with that. I guess there were other giants. Maybe it's a giant family that he knew he had to take them out. And Actually, believe it or not, just last night I wanted to tell my friends about some giant uh, lore associated with the Bible, but if I had mentioned it to them, they wouldn't be interested whatsoever. But it's interesting, some of the stuff I wanted to tell them, but that's what this has to do with the Philistines and Gath. That's where a lot of the giant gene still exists, and I think there are still giants today. You know, most people say to you, "You're nuts" when you bring it up, but there's some expositors today that are warning the giants are going to return. Maybe they're just hiding deep down. You know, I don't know. Let's move on. But anyway, that was intentional to take those stones as he was planning to wipe these guys out. 2. And he smote Moab and the Moabites. And the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. And David smote Hadarezer, king of Zobah, unto Hamath, as he went to establish his dominion by the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. David also hewed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadarezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. It's just amazing going from here to the end of 2 Kings, you know, where they were just getting wiped out, it seemed like, from battle to battle because God was cutting them short. And then you come back here to 1 Chronicles and you read it and you're just, oh yeah, 20,000 guys, we took them out. Just boom, they're done. Now that was the kind of power that David wielded. David was blessed, and David had that heart for God, and God blessed him. Just look at all he accomplishes here. 6. Then David put garrisons in Syria, Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought gifts. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadarezer and brought them to Jerusalem. Likewise, from Tibhath and from Chun, cities of Hadarezer, brought David very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen sea, and the pillars, and the vessels of brass. Now when Tou, king of Hamath, heard how David had smitten all the host of Hadarezer, king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram, his son, to King David to inquire of his welfare, and to congratulate him, because he had fought against Hadarezer, and smitten him. For Hadarezer had war with Tou, and with him all manner of vessels of gold, silver, and brass. Them also King David dedicated unto the Lord with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek. It's interesting. All these regions, and they mention Amalek, the last one, especially the Philistines, though. You could do a whole study on the giant gene, and it's interesting. Why does God tell them not to have sex with these people, not to get involved with these people, not only just on the surface level, but what about on the genetic level of them having sex with these people? I wonder if there's specific problems. Like, giants weren't meant to be created. Giants are the offspring of human women with angels. I don't think they're not part of his creation. So if they're not part of his creation, they have no destination, they have no place in hell, and they have no place in heaven. What is their existence, you know? Do they have any connection to God? A lot of speculation there, I don't know, but interesting to think about. But look at all of the effort to mention these little tidbits, especially verse 11 there, you know. And then, of course, what we mentioned with David fighting those regions in Gath, those are specifically associated with, that's verse 1. It's interesting, though. Let's move on. 12. Moreover, Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, slew of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000. And he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. There it repeated itself, right? That was said in verse 6. It's true. And then it also fulfilled a prophecy that the older shall serve the younger, right? The Edomites are the descendants of Esau. Now here we are. Esau is serving Jacob. 14. So David reigned over all Israel, and executed judgment and justice among all his people. And Joab the son of Zeruiah was over the host, and Jehoshaphat was the son of Ahilud recorder. And Zadok the son of Ahitub, and Abimelech the son of Abiathar were the priests, and Shavsha was scribe. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was over the Cherethites, and the Pelethites, and the sons of David were chief about the king. Chapter 19. The Ammonite-Syrian War. First campaign under Joab. Verse 1. Now it came to pass, after this, that Nahash, the king of the children of Ammon, died, and his son reigned in his stead. And David said, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nahash, because his father showed kindness to me. And David sent messengers to comfort him concerning his father. So the servants of David came into the land of the children of Ammon to Hanun to comfort him. You know, speaking of bad genes, you know, not to be I just wonder about that sometimes. My coworker was complaining to me yesterday. He said, it seems like my whole life, no matter what I do, I try to do a kind thing for someone, and they end up betraying me. It's not funny, it's sad. But I wonder if it's associated with this, you know. That's what David is trying to do here. He's trying to do a nice thing. He's trying to hold out that olive branch and say, hey, I'm here for you. I'm sorry for your loss there, buddy. I really liked your father, and I'm sorry that he's gone. Is there anything I can do for you? You know? And he would have done it too. David would have helped him. Whatever he needed. But it's sad how this turns out. 3. But the princes of the children of Ammon said to Hanun, thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee? Are not his servants come unto thee for to search, and to overthrow, and to spy out the land? Wherefore Hanun took David's servants, and shaved them, and cut off their garments in the midst hard by their buttocks, and sent them away. So he shaved off like half the beard or something, and maybe they cut off like half of his pants or something. Something probably pretty humiliating. 5. Then there went certain and told David how the men were served. And he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. And when the children of Ammon saw that they had made themselves odious to David, Hanun and the children of Ammon sent 1,000 talents of silver to hire them chariots and horsemen out of Mesopotamia, and out of Syria, Makkah, and out of Zobah. So they hired 32,000 chariots, and the king of Makkah and his people, who came and pitched before Medeba, and the children of Ammon gathered themselves together from their cities and came to battle. That's the other thing, if you had met David, would you ever think that kind of guile would be possible with David? I mean, based on the character that we've observed, other than the incident with Bathsheba, I think David is largely pretty genuine about his intentions, I mean, that's a beautiful woman there. Yeah, he lost his mind for a second and he went crazy with that. But that's totally different. Why wouldn't this guy accept his, I'm sorry for your loss, and just sent envoys to comfort him? Maybe they were really nice motivational speakers, and yet this guy just slaps his gift. But if the guy knew David, he should know that David wouldn't be capable of that kind of thing. Oh yeah, we'll get on the inside information so we can wipe him out. I don't think David's like that, David's pretty much straight up. Lord, if this is your will, let it be done, If you want me to conquer them, I'll go conquer them. But I don't think God would even employ such deceptive tactics, right? That's all tactics of Satan, really. God is more just straight up, wipe them out, let's go, boom, 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 you're dead, It's just, instead of, oh yes, we must slink in the shadows, and we will discover the information, the secret code to the door, Something's cloak and dagger like that. See, that's not, and that's an indicator that he's probably oppressed by a demon, to think that David is capable of that. David, no. Okay, sorry. 7. Okay, no, I read that. Or no, I didn't. 7. So they hired 32,000 chariots, and the king of Makkah and his people, who came and pitched before Medeba. And the children of Ammon gathered themselves together from their cities and came to battle. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the hosts of the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array before the gate of the city. And the kings that were come were by themselves in the field. Now when Joab saw that the battle was set against him before and behind, he chose out of all the choice of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai his brother, and they set themselves in array against the children of Ammon. And he said, If the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me, but if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, then I will help thee. Pretty standard tactic there. So you've got flanking positions on your one side. You'll have the other guy cover that flank. And then if he's having too much trouble, you send reinforcements around to the other side. That way you're both covered on both your flanks. And, if you need reinforcements, you would just do, and then they would send reinforcements, Probably some horn or maybe a flag, I need reinforcements. Send 10,000 troops. Something like that. Sound strategy. 13. Be of good courage, and let us behave ourselves valiantly for our people and for the cities of our God, and let the Lord do that which is good in his sight. Joab sounds pretty good there. I think God is blessing David and giving David the power and the strength and the blessing. But Joab just happens to be there. Joab's not a very good character, as we know, from some of the other things he does. But that line's pretty good. Is this Joab talking here? I think it is. Or maybe it's Abishai. But anyway, that's a good speech. And the last line is key. And let the Lord do that which is good in his sight. There's so much of that today about, yeah, this is the Lord's battle, let's go in there. But then you ask that question at the end of it, think, is this the Lord's will for me to go into this, to do this thing? You have to question that sometimes. Think about what you're doing. Is it right? I don't know. 14. So Joab and the people that were with him drew nigh before the Syrians unto the battle, and they fled before him. And when the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai his brother, and entered into the city. Then Joab came to Jerusalem. And when the Syrians saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they sent messengers, and drew forth the Syrians that were beyond the river. And Shophach, the captain of the host of Hadarezer, went before them. Second campaign under David in person, 17. And it was told David, and he gathered all Israel, and passed over Jordan, and came upon them, and set the battle in array against them. So when David had put the battle in array against the Syrians, they fought with him. But the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew of the Syrians 7,000 men, which fought in chariots, and 40,000 footmen, and killed Shophach the captain of the host. And when the servants of Hadarezer saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they made peace with David, and became his servants, neither would the Syrians help the children of Ammon any more. See how God blesses David? Just wins battle after battle after battle. And Solomon is a peacetime king. Solomon has peace. After David, his bloody hands, he is going to conquer all of this. He's establishing the kingdom. He's creating vassals, and he's bringing in resources for Solomon to build the temple. God is blessing David, All right, I'm going to stop here, and we'll continue from chapter 20 in a moment. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.